So Zion was perfect last night in his return to the Blue Devils. 29 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 steals. And many compare Zion to LeBron James. So, Stephen A., do you think those comparisons are unfair?
I don't think they were unfair because I think when you look at Zion, what you're thinking about the physical freak of nature that he is, and you're thinking about the physical freak of nature that LeBron is. But I will say this. I don't view him that way. In terms of his basketball skills, I don't view him that way. I don't think there's a comparison there at all. I think he's athletic. He's a high riser. We get all of that. But I think more about Blake Griffin. I think more about the Blake Griffin type, a physical freak who's a skywalker, can dunk on anybody, is made for the highlight reels. But basketball skill-wise, Max, I don't get that from him. I really don't.
Yeah, I've been comparing to Blake Griffin from the beginning, like a souped-up Blake Griffin, because Blake was, people forget now, but he was just otherworldly talented. Like the physical, the athletic ability was amazing. But the question was, can that body type, not like the lean, long-armed, two-way wing, can that, and neither the 7-foot shot-blocking center, right? Nor the outside shooting point guard. Can that Blake Griffin body type ever quite reach MVP level? And the answer for Blake has been no. He's the next thing down. And so the question is, can Zion? What if you souped that up a little more and you made it a better defensive player and some physical characteristics a little different than Blake? Like he looks more long-armed, like defender-y kind of guy. Can that be an MVP level player? And with Zion, the jury is out. So I understand why you say not LeBron. But just as Kobe, even though he was drafted lower down because straight out of high school, back before that was, in vogue, was compared to Jordan. That's an unfair comparison, right? Kobe almost got there. Just as LeBron was compared to like a hybrid Jordan Magic thing. Unfair, right? Who could live up to that? LeBron. He kind of got there. Similarly, Zion, because of what you mentioned, because of the physical freakishness and what people recognize as a team-oriented game, not just a very aggressive spirit, but a team-oriented kind of mentality, we are going to naturally compare him to the last guy that made us go, oh my God. And that was LeBron on this level. The last guy that gave us that feeling was LeBron, and so he's going to be compared to him.
So I think that's why we should be comparing the two. Comparisons don't have to be literal. Analogies aren't literal. Trust me, I've experienced this in the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. But analogies, you're pointing out Zion's game is different than LeBron's. But as far as a generational talent, a guy who changes a franchise, a guy who can shoulder a championship team, you put Blake on one level, you put LeBron on another. Do you think Zion is the biggest generational talent we've seen since Zion?
Well, let me retort.
Since LeBron.
That's
what I said.
Let me respond. Let me respond with a question.
Right.
Did y'all consider Barkley that guy?
A generational
Charles
talent?
Barkley.
A franchise-changing generational talent, Charles Barkley.
I would say Barkley's career turned out to be, that's the next thing to it.
What I'm saying is, as you reflect on Charles Barkley's career,
he was,
do you view him as a transcendent talent and a franchise-changing, franchise-altering talent?
Yes.
Or just a superstar basketball player? Because what I'm saying to you is, when I think about Zion, that's what I see.
Barkley?
I don't see LeBron. I see Barkley.
I understand that.
I see Barkley.
I would say this.
But wait. So you say, answer your own question, please. How did you see Barkley? As a transcendent superstar player?
I looked at Barkley as a superstar player. In other words, when you talk about transcendent, the fact that he was the round amount of rebounds, 6'4", and could dribble the ball the way that he could dribble the ball, that he could lead a break, that he could be a one-man break, and he could do things on that level, fine. But he wasn't Magic.
Well, here's the difference.
He wasn't Jordan. That I don't look at Zion like that.
Here's the difference.
I look at Zion like Barkley.
You're saying that Zion can be a transformational figure for a franchise, but he will not be a perennial MVP. Maybe he wins an MVP at some point.
You could be a perennial MVP, but you can't be.
Well, Barkley wasn't a perennial MVP. Jordan was.
I'm sorry, perennial
LeBron was.
Player. That's what I meant.
I'll say this. We should be careful about one thing, and the way the human mind works, and for good reason. We want the next guy to look like the last guy. We start to look like for comps. Did Steph look like an NBA championship engine out of college? No, because no one had ever looked like that in the modern NBA. A 6'3", three-point shooting point guard who's not very good defensively. Can you build a championship around that? No, it didn't work, right? Like they tried it with Steve Nash, it didn't work, and until it worked with Steph. You know, so the question with Zion is, can he be what Barkley wasn't quite, what Blake really didn't get to? Can he be the next level of that thing? The jury is out on that, but if I'm a franchise, obviously I'm spending the #1 pick to find out.
Yeah, this is a clear bet.
Without question.
With all due respect, so what I hear you saying is this: there are levels to this.
That's right.
And
as I often
the
say.
levels would look like, gathering what both of you are saying, the levels would look like this: Blake, Barkley, perhaps Zion, LeBron.
That's right.
Those kind of levels.
That's right.
And you feel like Zion's in the potential Barkley level.
Yes.
But Zion belongs to a couple different groups. He also belongs to the LeBron, Shaq, Wilt group, which is physically that dude is different at that size from everyone else.
But you also have to remember, it's going to be real interesting to see the kind of effect that he has on the NBA because of how the NBA has basically finessed the game of basketball and taken some of the physicality out of it. 1 minute he's dropping 30, the next minute he's in foul trouble in 2 minutes because of the way they call the game. It's going to be real interesting to see what they let go with Zion on the court.
Another group that Zion might belong to is a group of two with the Greek Freak. Can you take it hard? Can you build a championship contender around a guy who's just going to take it hard to the rack?
But Duke, he goes around you and over you.
Yeah, how much wiggle does Zion have in his game? We'll see.